The way this song came about, my good friend, my best friend since kindergarten, Yosef, I just give you a little bit of our background. We were best friends when we were 5 years old, and we separated around the third grade. Third grade, I think we went to different schools. And somehow Hashem just orchestrated, after seeing each other and being around each other a few times over those years, that we both would be very, very heavily into music, and just out of happenstance, there was a big producer who had a studio in my house. The way that happened was he had a big studio in his mother's house first. And it was like a very famous studio in Seattle. And his mother told him, "Listen, you've been here for a long time. You don't live here, and you're running up my electricity. I need you out of my house." So he needed a place to go, and I was 13 at the time, 13, 14, and my dad said to him, "Listen, I have a basement. We just moved into our new place, and it's like completely open to you. And I won't charge you anything, electricity, nothing. Only thing I want is that you would teach my son everything that you know." So I became a student. He became my Mr. Miyagi for my music rebbe, and that studio moved from his mother's house to my house. So now my house had the famous studio in it, and my best friend at that time, Yosef, at that time. And we had not connected. Maybe the last time we seen each other, maybe it was maybe 5 years to this point. He was overheard some guys in a restaurant there, and they were talking about studio and whatever. And he went up to them and he told them he made beats or whatever. Guy came over, long story short, listened to his music. Was like, "I'm going to this big studio, and in South Seattle. You should come with us." So he just got on the bus and ended up there. And I came downstairs one day and he was in there. And his back was turned, so I didn't know who it was, whatever, And I was going through some things or whatever, and there was a CD over there that said Damien Black, which was my name before. And he said, "Is that your CD?" Now, mind you, it didn't look the same as he did when he was a kid. I think he was a little bit more chubbier, I'm saying, whatever. He grew up, some of the baby fat had came off a little bit, and he said, "Is that your CD?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Are you?" And I looked at him and said, "Are you?" And it was the biggest hug. And that night he was staying at my house 3 nights in a row. We caught up like it was we never did. So long story short, as we eventually have grown, at the time I was dating my wife. My wife had a sister, and all the friends over there, was always trying to talk to my wife's sister. So it was it was just that type of situation. Everybody wanted her. She was very, very hard to get to and whatever. And so he happened to be very, very funny. He was hilarious. So somehow, some way, I tell you this, it's like my mother-in-law had Navur. One day I went to go to a house, and I went to go help her move. She was moving something, and I brought him with me, and the first thing she says, she didn't say hello, she didn't say hi or anything. And it wasn't like nothing. She was just playing around. But she said, "I have another daughter. You want to marry her?" And years later on, they got married. And that happened to be, so that was a year after I got married. And we were all growing at that time. There's other parts of the story I'll tell you later on. But eventually, with that best friend, we married sisters, and we continued into Yiddishkeit, Judaism together, and we made a conversion same day in double wedding. So, and not only that, he's not here tonight. He wakes up, he has to go to Kolo soon. But most of the music that you're hearing was produced by him, especially this song. So this song came about, he had written this song a million years, and he was telling me, "You gotta put this song on the album." And I'm like, "No, I'm done. I'm not recording any more songs. I'm finished." And whatever, it was his version, and whatever, he's not so much of a singer. He can make a great beat, but he was like giving me a reference. And I had the song, and I was just like, no way. So then he called. We had a good friend from Seattle he's a good friend, but we call him Uncle Rick. So then he has Uncle Rick come. And Uncle Rick tells me, "You got to put this song on the album." And I'm like, no way. So I go into the studio, and I messed around with a little bit with them and redid some of the production. And we sat there, and Yosef was there, and he said to Yisrael, "Yisrael, go in, you go give it a try." Now I was thinking the whole time, I was like, I don't know what this is going to sound like with a white guy's voice on it. You know what I'm saying? This sounds so black soul, I was like, I don't know what it is. And Yisrael went in there, and I was just like, this is it. This is it. And my biggest fear after that was when I got the original part from Yosef, the original song from him, it was so emotional. His heart was so into it that I was just like, I don't know if I can convey those same feelings. So I kicked them both out of the studio, and I was walking back and forth, and I was just talking to Hashem. And I told Hashem, I want to be able to write this like David HaMelech wrote Tehillim. I want to feel my everything. And while I was writing the song, I was like, tears were coming out. And I didn't even know which way I was going to go which way I was going to go. But it just was sort of like the pen just started flowing. It started flowing, and it turned into a very, very powerful song, and very, very interesting. This song now has become like the #1 requested everywhere I tour the world. Everybody asks for this song. 2 weeks after we released the video, we had 1,000 kids in South Africa that were singing the song word for word. So it's just from my heart.